Dogs are some of the most loyal and loving animals on the planet, but it's easy to catch yourself wondering if they really love you or not. Don't worry though, just because your dog can't speak doesn't mean they aren't communicating with you. Here are 17 scientifically proven ways your dog says, "I love you." Kisses. This one probably won't come as much of a surprise. When your dog licks your face, it's giving you puppy kisses. Puppies do this more often than adult dogs because they use this behavior to tell their dog parents they're hungry. But if they do this to you, it means they trust you completely and see you as their parents. If an adult dog does it, they're trying to groom you, which is just another way of showing their affection. Staring into your eyes. A staring contest between dogs is often a sign of aggression, but when your dog does its puppy eyes at you, it's a sign of trust and love. Studies have shown that when dogs and their owners gaze into each other's eyes, it releases oxytocin in both of them. Oxytocin is a bonding hormone, the same one that's released to bond humans to their own babies. This is a powerful display of love that affects both you and your dog. It's safe to say your dog wouldn't look you in the eye like that if they didn't really love you. Smiling. No, you're not going crazy. Your dog totally did smile at you. It's actually called a submissive smile. And while it looks a lot like a human smile, it's not expressing exactly the same emotion. Dogs do this to express submission when they're greeting someone, and it means that they trust you. Some people believe that it's a sign of aggression because it involves baring teeth, but it actually means the complete opposite. It's definitely a good sign if your dog is smiling at you. Yawning if you yawn. You might already know that yawns are contagious because people empathize with each other, but we're not the only ones. This behavior has been seen in only a few other species, and dogs are one of them. Dogs are more likely to catch a yawn from someone they know than from a stranger. This means that it's possible your dog yawns when you do because they've bonded with you enough to empathize with you. Cuddles, especially after a meal. According to Gregory Burns, an expert in dog behavior, you can tell a lot about what's most important to your dog by watching what they do after a meal. So if your dog chooses to come cuddle up with you after you've fed him, that's probably because time with you is the most important thing to him besides eating. And let's face it, dogs live for food, so that's a pretty big compliment. Leaning against you. There are lots of reasons dogs lean up against you, but every single one of them is a sign of affection in some way. They might be asking you to give them something, do something for them, offer them more attention, or even provide some security if they're worried about something. But whatever the reason, they would never lean up against someone they didn't trust and love. A pat on the head will often be enough to get them back on their own feet. Eyebrow raise. The eyebrow raise is one of the more mysterious dog behaviors, which is probably why a group of scientists in Japan decided to put it to the test. They found that dogs usually raise their left eyebrow when they see their owners, and they move their left ear when they see their favorite toy. They don't show as much facial movement when they see things they're not familiar with or with things they don't like. Strangers got a slight raise of the right eyebrow, and objects they don't like made them move their right ear. So if your dog is wiggling his left eyebrow at you, it's a good sign. Calmly watching you leave. You might think your dog doesn't love you if they don't make a fuss when you leave the house, but it turns out that's not true at all. If your dog tries to stop you leaving, that's more of a sign of separation anxiety than love. If your dog calmly watches you walk out the front door, then it actually means that they trust you'll come back and they don't feel like they need to worry, which is obviously a good thing. Greeting you excitedly. So it might not be a great sign if your dog behaves chaotically when you try to leave, but it is a good thing when they go crazy when you get back. Any barking, jumping, tail wagging or toy carrying is a great sign and one that's pretty easy to read. It simply means that they're excited to see you. Jealousy. You might be pretty sure by this point in the video that your dog trusts you, but that still doesn't mean it wants you to give your attention to anyone else. Even domestic dogs are territorial, and the more they like you, the more they'll want to keep you all to themselves. If your dog whines, barks, or tries to pull you away from something, it means they're jealous of the thing you're giving attention to. It might be a little annoying sometimes, but it does come from a loving heart. Sleeping on your bed. In nature, dogs sleep cuddled up together as a pack for warmth and protection. So even though lots of people don't like their dogs on their bed, it is actually a good thing if they want to sleep with you. It means they see you as part of their family, and they're showing their loyalty to you. It is definitely an expression of love, and you might want to reconsider putting them in their own bed. Some studies suggest people sleep better with an animal next to them. Bringing you a favorite toy. If your dog brings you their favorite toy, it doesn't just mean they want to play. We've already mentioned how territorial dogs are, and you might have noticed how closely they guard their toys from other animals or people that they don't know. So if your dog brings you their favorite toy, this is a big sign that your dog trusts you and wants to please you. They like it so much, they think you must like it too, and they want to share that special toy with you. Plus, even if your dog did just want to play, this is a big sign of affection in itself. Comforting you. Dogs are social animals, and they're no different with their human family. Dogs can read your mood and tell if you're not doing well if they have a strong bond with you. If your dog won't leave your side when you're sad or sick, it means they care about you and they want to protect you while you're down. Try not to get annoyed if they're licking your face or sleeping with their head on your chest. It's the best way they know how to help. Using you as their comfort. The same way a dog that loves you will comfort you when you're not doing so well, they see you as a source of comfort when there's something wrong with them. If they're running to you in a thunderstorm or when some other scary thing happens, it means they trust you completely and believe you'll do whatever you can to protect them. The same way you wouldn't look for comfort from someone you don't trust. A dog will never run to someone they don't love when they think they need someone to have their back. Jumping on you. This isn't always the most welcome display of affection, because that's not how we do things in the human world. But in the dog world, it is a sign of extreme happiness and joy. If your dog is jumping on you, they're trying to tell you they've missed you, and they're very excited to see you again. Don't worry if it gets out of hand. This is one behavior you can train dogs to stop doing if you need to. Rolling over. This one just feels affectionate, but is it really a sign that your dog loves you? Dogs, of course, feel safest on their feet for obvious reasons. If your dog rolls over and exposes its belly to you, it definitely might be asking for a belly rub, but it would never do that if it didn't trust you completely. Rolling over is a sign that your dog is totally submissive to you. In other words, it has no feelings of aggression towards you at all. It's completely relaxed and happy. If your dog does this, it means it loves and trusts you with all of its heart, which is the best kind of puppy love you can hope for. Following you around. Sure, it can be pretty annoying sometimes when you can't do a thing without your dog following you around. It's like you suddenly have a second shadow, but it's actually a really good sign. This shouldn't be too surprising. You wouldn't follow someone around if you didn't like them a lot. A dog is no different, even if they are more clingy when they find someone they like. As a pack animal, dogs think being apart from someone you love is an absurd idea. If they're following you around, they see you as their leader or parent and want to show you that they're loyal and devoted to you. It also means that they trust you to show them where to go. But mostly, they just like being close to you, making this behavior probably the most significant indication that your dog loves you completely. If your dog does more than one of those things, it's a sign that you're a great doggy parent and they definitely do love you. Did we miss something your dog does to show you they love you? Put it in the comments.